Hi everyone. I just wanted to do a short little video where we talk about Elon Musk doing the Nazi salute at Trump's inauguration rally celebration. So him doing the Nazi salute, what it means and signifies, and obviously this is something that other people with much larger channels have talked about at length in an incredibly short period, which is important and vital, and I'm just basically contributing to that by stating the obvious. But with Nazis, you have to state the obvious because they're not subtle, and we have to denormalize what they're doing and point them out as being the villains that they are. They work in bad faith, but they also work through dog whistles, Darvo and obscurantism, and rhetorical devices like that. So that's basically just what I'm doing here. I do a lot of writing where, because my writing is anti-fascist, that I discuss just through the general sort of stuff that I do, but also my research and my book series. My book series delves into Gothic poetics and liberating work, predominantly sex work, but by extension all work, because all work is sexualized under capital and fetishized according to profit and abused accordingly, according to axes of oppression and privilege. So that's a nice summary of what I do. And it's also a fancy way of saying that I write about Nazis and tokenized variants of those all the time, but I also write about your garden variety Nazi types, which is to say white cishet men and divorced dads, basically. And that is Elon Musk to a T. The system privileges people exactly like him, and fascism is capital in decay. So he's defending the system that knowingly has protected men like him since antiquity, evolving into it, out of the fall of Rome into the first, second, and third kingdoms, basically. So the Holy Roman Empire, the Weimar Republic, and then the Third Reich, the Nazi Germany that everyone knows. But people also have to bear in mind that fascism is ontological and it's not restricted to a particular area. The modern sense of fascism was birthed in the United States, and the fleeing of the elite and the abusing of basically a radical form of thought, Puritanism and Christian Protestantism, the Puritan work ethic, to weaponize a white male middle class, and eventually later other Tolkien groups that would extend from women to people of color to queer people, so on and so forth. The system that in America that evolved into laissez-faire, Bretton Woods, and neoliberalism is a highly efficient and globalized form of exploitation, both through the base and the superstructure. So just the raw mechanics of industry and production, but then also the propaganda side of things. And speaking of propaganda, that's exactly what Musk is doing. So this is a Nazi salute, and we're going to watch it. You're seeing a Nazi salute in the wild being performed by the people who benefit most from it. This is a terror weapon. This is meant to incite fear to his enemies and motivate people that are aligned with his belief system to unify, rally around him, follow the leader. And in his case, he's kind of he's the Darth Vader to the Emperor, and or vice versa. You know, that when you get that high up and you're dealing with people as powerful as Musk, he could be the Emperor, and Donald Trump could be Darth Vader. It does. I mean, you know, it's like it doesn't really matter because Trump is someone who's elected into office, but Elon Musk is still the world's richest man according to Capital, which admittedly those are both positions of performance and status. And money isn't really a giant pile of gold. It's something that's distributed through capital as a living system. So it doesn't really matter exactly how you look at it, but no matter how you slice it, these guys are Nazis, and they're very powerful Nazis. and they are defending their powerful friends in the government, in corporations, in capital more broadly. The state is in crisis, it's decaying, and it's defending itself so those in power can hold on to it. And those in between who are trying to seize power are working their way within the system. And some people will say, if you have a clown in government, prepare for a circus. But the reality is that white moderates are in cahoots with people like this. Obama and Trump aren't enemies, they're friends. It's kayfabe. And that's what this is. This is all performance. And he's doing it for their audience, their target audience, to say, now's the time to come together and we can start killing our enemies. And they've been killing their enemies the whole time, of course, but now they're going mask off. So we're effectively dealing with Malcolm X's the wolf versus the fox. And the fox has turned a blind eye and he's pacified people and mollified them. But make no mistake, the elected officials of functionally white, but, token variants to status quo, Obama, he's black, and Kamala Harris is a woman of color. It doesn't matter. The point is that functionally white individuals, black skin, white masks, and any tokenized minority that you could think of, they're all responsible for this. So we have to push back against that and denormalize this any way that we can, including stating the obvious. It's like, well, they're a Nazi, and everyone's going to be like, well, no, shit. But at the same time, they're also going to be downplaying it if they're in defense of. If you're complicit, if you don't push back against this every waking moment, like if someone is killing your friend in front of you and you say, oh, well, yeah, duh, but no, not really, that's denial, and denial is complacency. Denial is complacency after a certain point. So it's very important to speak out about this. But in any event, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's just important to know the context behind this, but also just the fact that homeboy here is literally standing at the podium of the President of the United States in front of basically the largest gentrified audience in the world and doing a Nazi salute, not just to the crowd, but also to the flag, the United States, and for which it stands, which is power. So he's also, saluting the Führer, the leader. And that's not just Trump, but just the entire establishment. And it's sort of built around a strong man in Trump's case, but that's always been the case in America. Everyone's like, Mr. President, it's the same kind of thing. It's just whitewash. It's just a white moderate thing. But now it's decaying more, and they're going mask off, which means that they're getting ready to attack.
Elections, they come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not. But this one, this one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Okay, so that's the first salute. He's saluting the crowd. He's saluting the establishment, those in power. And now he's doing the third part, which is the hand on the heart. And he's vowing to...
Heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
And that's the oath. So it's basically a four-parter. Salute the crowd, salute power, put your hand on your heart, and swear to protect civilization. He's a defender of the realm. And fascism is a rejection of modernity. It's a rejection of intellectualism. You're embracing a ontological idea of regression towards an imaginary past, of greatness. So this is just fascism 101, but it's fascism in a suit. So this is like what Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher were doing in the 80s, but it's just, come to its logical conclusion. And the vast majority of the people in the audience are white. They don't even have to point the camera at them. And if they're not white, then they're tokenized. So these are people, if you see footage of people, giant throngs of people, hordes of people doing the Nazi salute in Germany in, the 1930s and 40s, that's what's going on here. And so this is history repeating itself. It's obviously a different time period. It's 100 years after the beer hall push, but this is what's going on. So we're at the point where Hitler is elected Chancellor of Germany, and again, it's functionally no different than the United States. It's just the state of exception is expanding to affect more and more people because, make no mistake, they'll be targeting immigrants and they'll be targeting people like me, but they'll also be coming for you too. Make no mistake, what happened to Nazi Germany? It burned itself alive. It's a death cult. This is fascism in decay, and the only way to stop that is to fight and to group together. We need to survive. We need to solidarize. We need to speak out. We can't divide, because that's exactly what this is meant to do. It's meant to terrify us. It's meant to scare us. So in any event, just a short little video where I kind of explained that a little bit. We went over the salute. I talked about just the basic sort of politics behind it, the history behind it more broadly, and what this asshole is doing. He's a Nazi, and Nazis do bad things, and anyone who turns a blind eye is moderate, they're complicit, and they're an enemy of progress. And this goes for any ethnicity, it goes for any religion, it goes to any social standing, sex, or gender. If you're for this kind of thing, by not speaking out against it actively, then you are complicit in some shape or form. And it's not something that we can afford to do. It never really was, because it's just led to this moment in time. But now we have to actually speak out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm in the middle of finishing up my latest book, so I'm already doing that and writing about the abuse in my own life. But this is the abuse of workers everywhere. Fascism is a threat not just to white straight people or trans people or intersections of different minorities, such as trans people of color, of particular religions, non-Christian religions, even Catholicism to a certain extent. But then again, Biden was Catholic and JFK was Catholic, but the vast majority of American presidents have been Protestants, certainly not atheists or Muslims. I don't think Obama was directly, but in any event, it's just with Islamophobia and stuff like that, he certainly wasn't practicing in any demonstrable way, because Islamophobia was something he contributed to, including the genocides happening in the Middle East. So the power like this, the state is the enemy. So all cops are bad, all states are bad, all billionaires are bad. The state is straight, it's heteronormative, it's Cartesian, divide and conquer nature, antagonize it, put it to work. That's going to affect people closer to the margins, because capital is a marginal enterprise. It marginalizes groups that it can exploit on the frontiers, either domestically through redlining or overseas in its colonies, or satellite states and through proxy war. So there's all kinds of shit like that going down. It's been going down. It's still going down. Any kind of illusion that Donald Trump is helping out the Gazans with the ceasefire or bringing back TikTok, that's all smoke and mirrors, and we have to meet them with our own. Rebellion is a war of mirrors. This is a rebellion. This is a struggle for our survival. He's treating it like victory, final victory, in defense of civilization against a man-made disaster, admittedly. And climate change and various pandemics will be blamed on degenerate people like me, people who basically anything that isn't a white, cishet, Christian man from Europe or European, Western European ancestry, basically. And that impacts Americana. Anything not created in that image or otherwise emblematic of it, or working towards those aims by wearing the mask of the colonizer as a performative device, is the enemy and will be blamed for all of the things that capital causes by continuing to do what it does. This is called State Shift within the capitalist scene. So, A History of the World in 7 Cheap Things by Raj Patel and more. And that is exactly what's happening. So this is not, fascism is eco-fascism, basically. And the more that someone like him turns the gears of war and industry, which go hand in hand, terror, violence go hand in hand, and the controlling of sex and nature through force, so on and so forth. This is all just through boom and bust. This is all just capital doing what it does on a cycle. It's historical materialism in its its purest form, but it's not something you can reduce strictly to class, culture, or race, because all of these things are obviously going into the same equation. But it's a us versus them kind of thing. It's presented very monomythically. Hell is out there, but the enemy is within. We need to keep our borders safe, but we need to police ourselves within, because fascism is imperialism come home to empire, so on and so forth. And the solution that we have to do is we have to fight back, and we have to fight back en masse. We have to organize, but again, we have to survive. So you have to fight back with buffers and barriers. But there's a time when you just have to straight up stand and be recognized and be like, no, I'm against this. Because again, I'm a person with privilege, so I can afford to do that. So I'm going to do that. But I'm also going to keep furthering the cause through the work that I do off of this platform and elsewhere among my friends. So I'll be doing both. And this is my little brief moment where I'm doing my part on this platform. But thanks for watching. Just a short little ditty. I'm going to try and keep doing the series that I'm working on just through my research and my writing, and just sort of promoting the work that I do in here. But this is sort of separate from that. But in any event, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.